It is 1984, and it has been 10 long years that a legion of young boys' bedroom walls were covered with the posters of the outrageous Lamborghini Countach. So in 1984, it was time for Ferrari to regain the exotic sports car crown with the now cult Ferrari Testarossa. The Testarossa name, redhead in English, was of course revived from the multi-Le Mans race winner from the late 50s and early 60s, giving you a sense of how determined Enzo was in producing a meaningful 12-cylinder flagship. The 512 Berlinetta Boxer had been the first production mid-rear engine Ferrari with a 12-cylinder, and it would become the base for the Testarossa with its updated longer wheelbase tubular chassis of now 2550mm or 100.4 inch. Although unlike the Berlinetta Boxer and its dirty engine, the Testarossa received a cleaner 12-cylinder, allowing it to pass the American emission restrictions and conquer the United States. Pininfarina drew a very charismatic and dramatic car, but still remained mature and graceful, as Pininfarina is best known for, unlike some other childish exotic sports car. The front black grille almost adorned identical large turning signals and parking lights combo on each side as the Ferrari 328 and Mondial 3.2T. Also at the front, a black splitter with only a left air intake scoop feeding air into the AC unit and the ventilated disc brakes looked unbalanced. The pop-up headlights housed two round lamps on each side, and the single side mirror found on the driver's side had an artistic and aerodynamic dual-stem mirror support fitted in the mid-height of the A-pillar. This strange decision of fitting only one side mirror gave the Testarossa an asymmetrical and awkward look. The pièce de résistance came from the side rear air intakes located on the overly extended rear fenders, which started from the door just underneath the side mirrors and gradually got wider towards the back. These massive air intakes housed 5 horizontal long slats, giving an undeniable artistic touch to the Testarossa and gave at the same time some downforce to keep this white terror on the ground. The rear quarter side windows ended abruptly where the rear buttresses began, while in the USA the louvered engine lid adorned a third stopping light as well as rectangular light markers on each fender. The extremely wide rear end of almost 2 meter or 77.8 inch or 1976mm rear end was also a novelty, with the rectangular tail lights shaded by a series of 5 black horizontal slats covering the entire width, matching at the same time the massive side slats. This visual trick, added to a flat engine lid, made the Testarossa appear even wider than it already was. As Italian tradition dictated at that time, 4 exhaust pipes were located under the body color-coded bumper, while a slatted air vent matching the ones found on the taillights were placed between them. To complete the Testarossa's design, a set of 5-spoke alloy wheels received a single central locking nut. The Testarossa's interior was a plastic palace with switches and dials coming directly from Fiat Sportsspin. The binnacle was retained from the 512BB with orange numberings, and the center console housed 2 small dials with all the window and AC switches placed on the tunnel console. The 5-speed dogleg, first bottom left, exposed metal gear gate lever gave action to a transmission placed underneath the engine to keep the rear compact, but it also kept the center of gravity high. Like the Open Racer of the 50s, the cam covers were painted red, giving the Testarossa its name. To facilitate the maintenance of the red head and reduce noise and vibrations, the engine was placed on a subframe, which was then bolted to the chassis. The previous flagship Ferrari with 12 cylinders, the 512BB, had a 5-liter V12 engine laying flat at 180 degrees in front of the rear axle and was retained for the Testarossa. But in the Testarossa, the dual-head camper bank received 4 valves per cylinder instead of 2, for a total of 48 valves. Developing 390 horsepower at 6,300 RPM, it only took 5.2 seconds to reach 62 miles per hour from a standstill, while the top speed was 180 miles per hour or 290 km per hour. All this performance and speed was achieved in relative comfort and ease compared to the exceeding BB models. In 1986, Europe received a catalytic exhaust and power went down to 370 horsepower. But a year later, in late 1987, as the 88 models arrived, some good news came. First seen in USA with the adoption of 2 side mirrors, this time placed at the base of the A-pillar, and second, new 5-spoke alloy wheels were now held with 5 bolts, giving altogether a more pleasing and up-to-date look to the Testarossa. The last year for the Ferrari Testarossa came in 1991 after 5,648 cars had been sold, except for the white example seen on Miami Vice, which was given to the TV show by Ferrari after the producers had to put away the fake Daytona Spider based on a Corvette. But it also gave Ferrari and Pininfarina a sweet success by finally adorning young boys' bedroom walls with Testarossa posters.